Perfect. There we go, my friends. Welcome to Toolbox Tuesday, where today we're going to dive into what SwipeSimple can do for you and can do for all of your merchants. Of course, I can't do this by myself. I had to bring in the specialist, the one, the only, Rinda Sutrathada. Rinda, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Good afternoon, Scott. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you all as well, Pay Compass team. It's been a while since Card Flight slash Swipe Simple has been on, so it's really great to be here with you all today.
We are super excited to have you here today. And Rinda, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hand the controls over to you so that you can share your screen and we can get this party kicked off here. So while you're getting that pulled up, to all of you, you've heard the name Swipe Simple before. And in your mind, you're thinking, my gosh, Swipe Simple? Yeah, I know who they are. They do that virtual terminal stuff, don't they? Aha, yes, they do. But they do a heck of a lot more. And today's the day where you're going to find out exactly what they can do for your merchants. Rinda, I'll tell you what, my friend, why don't we get this kicked off and why don't we just kind of jump into a very small overview as far as what Swipe Simple can do?
Yeah. So with Swipe Simple, essentially we make it easy for your merchants to be able to accept credit card payments, whether they're on the go, from their computer, or out in the field with their merchants. So excited to show you our solution and how we've grown over the past few years. Let's see. Awesome.
I was going to say, yes, you are indeed
Oh,
driving over here. So,
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Awesome. So here is the agenda that we have for today. We'll go over a little bit about Swipe Simple Payments. That's our mobile app. With that, you're also going to get access to our payment gateway. That's going to give you access to the virtual terminal, payment links, invoices, as well as scheduled payments. Then we'll also touch base on Swipe Simple Terminal, a really great smart terminal solution that your merchants can use, as well as dual pricing. We know that's the hot button topic as well. So we'll cover a little bit about dual pricing, as well as going through a demo of our product. We'll also see some of the key features that we've released over the past few years. Then lastly, we'll focus on how to find the perfect merchants based on your own community and also merchants that we do really well with for Swipe Simple.
and if you don't mind, I just want to kind of tease our agents here a little bit. Rinda did mention it at the very beginning of the call. It's been quite some time since we've gotten Swipe Simple right to the forefront, so all of you can pick up some knowledge in regards to what Swipe Simple could do. But today, man, oh man, we actually got something brand spanking new that you may not have known about. So stick around. Rinda, how was that for a tease? Was that pretty good?
Yes,
Not
perfect.
too
Thank you so
shabby?
much.
Not a problem. All right. So, like I said at the beginning of the call, Linda, I mean, for the most part, a lot of people think Swipe Simple, yeah, that must be the virtual terminal that we're always referring to. Why don't we jump ahead to that next slide? And why don't we show
Perfect.
everybody everything that Swipe Simple can do for a merchant?
Yes. So here are the three products that we sell today with Swipe Simple. Most of you are probably familiar with Swipe Simple Payments. This runs on the mobile app, so you can use this on your phone or tablet, iPad. You also have access to the payment gateway with those four additional features that I went through earlier. We also have Swipe Simple Terminal. So with this, that's a smart terminal solution that I was mentioning as well. And lastly, we have Swipe Simple Register. So the great thing with this product is that you have two key features, item modifiers and item level taxes. And with this, you can actually run those two features on different products as well. So I'm actually going to show you the item modifiers, item level taxes on the Swipe Simple terminal device today, so on an A920. So you may be thinking, all right, well, what's so great about Swipe Simple? Well, it's going to be really a solution that your merchants are going to be able to grow with over time. A solution that they may start off using just the mobile app, say maybe for a hairstylist. There are mobile hairstylists that's on the go. They want to be able to take transactions, credit cards from their mobile device using that card reader. Maybe over time they grow and they need to be able to send out an invoice for, say, weddings. Maybe they're doing hairstyles for the wedding as well. So they can easily send that out using the payment gateway on the back end. And say that same hairstylist ends up continuing to grow. They need a sleek device, or say they have a stall or space within a barbershop that they can continue using it. And then lastly, that same hairstylist continues to grow even larger and has the need to use SwipeSimple register with those item modifiers and also item level taxes. So that's just one way, really, with SwipeSimple, it's going to be a great all-in-one solution that your merchants are going to be able to grow with over time as well.
And Renda, one of the things that I want to make sure that we do emphasize to our sales agents, this is an opportunity to truly take a solution that can grow with a business. So for the most part, looking at the screen, I mean, obviously on the left-hand side, we can see that we've got the payment gateway that we can set up in a laptop or a computer. However, given the fact that we can also do it on a payment device, I mean, it's safe to assume that it's going to be in sync. So any and all transactions, regardless of whether they happen in a virtual terminal or regardless of whether they happen on a payment terminal, they're all going to be in sync and be in communication with one another, correct?
So essentially, if you start a transaction on one device, you have to finish it on that same device. But the way that it's going to communicate with one another is really going to be through the dashboard. So, say that you have a merchant that has five A920s. Maybe that's distributed to those hairstylists that we just mentioned earlier. So all of those transactions are going to be visible in the dashboard. When we go through the dashboard in a bit, we can actually see there are sections where you can actually sort by different users. You can sort by the different merchant accounts. But because we're all cloud-based, the things that they're going to share the same customers. They're also going to share the same inventory as well. So that's kind of how those devices are going to work together. But depending on which device you're using, you could have that multi-mid, multi-merchant setup.
And before we continue on, Rinda, to you, the sales agent, want to make sure that we do get your questions answered. As always, whenever we do a Toolbox Tuesday, we always highly encourage you to do one of two things. You can either put your questions in the chat, or when we take a break in just a little bit, you can come off mute, get your questions out to Rinda, so this way you can get out there in the field today and start presenting SwipeSimple as a solution to each and every single one of your merchants. So speaking about presenting SwipeSimple to merchants, Rinda, let's kind of jump ahead a little here. So why should our agents sell SwipeSimple when they're talking to merchants?
Well, great question. One, as you saw with the three products that we sell today, we do have an omni-channel payment solution that merchants can grow with over time. So, depending on what your merchants really need when they're out in the field, whether that's being able to quickly take payments using either invoices on mobile, maybe they need to be able to charge customers using saved card information, or maybe you have your merchants that are someone that's the receptionist at the front desk. They need to be able to take Moto or transactions over the phone, being able to send out that invoice payment link. So, really, just giving your merchants that more versatile experience and also flexible. As you all know, merchants aren't just doing card present transactions. They're not just doing face to face anymore. They really need to have more flexibility in the way that they accept payments from their customers. Something that we briefly mentioned earlier was that we also have um, SwipeSimple is cloud-based, and that also applies to their inventory management as well. You'll see as we go through a bunch of the reporting on here and like alerts, it's going to be really helpful in terms of keeping merchants really organized and also helping them with being able to manage their business, which kind of bleeds into the business insights. We know that merchants need to have better reporting to be able to manage and run their business. They want to be able to really dig into the trends and see how their business is growing, or if there's any areas such as inventory where they may need to tweak specific items. So that's just one way that really those business insights are going to help merchants as they continue to grow, as they continue to scale as well.
And very quickly, just in regards to that cloud-based inventory management piece, I mean, that was something that I wasn't even aware of at the time prior to when you and I were actually planning out this session for today. So safe to assume, as far as inventory management goes, are we talking from a retail aspect? What are we talking about when we say inventory management?
Yeah, so we'll see when we go through the actual demo of the product, but say that we have a food and beverage shop. They're selling t-shirts or merchandise as well. They want to be able to keep track of how many items they have in stock. Say going back to the food and beverage, actually, maybe they have waters or coffees that they're selling, and they want to be able to keep track of how many items that they're selling. So they will see that one on the actual device. They'll also see that in their reporting too. So also with alerts, we have it set up so if merchants want to be notified when an item hits a specific threshold, maybe they only have 5 items left, they want to be notified about that so that way they can restock. So yes, this can be for retail, but you can also use this for F&B. I have a services HVAC account set up here, and in terms of say not so much repairs, but if there's like different parts that they need, um, they can use that to be able to track their inventory as well. So while it is helpful for retail, there's also other verticals that they can also use for that inventory management too.
Excellent. Thank you, Renda. I tell you what, given the fact that you and I practiced well enough in advance, I know what's coming up next, and I teased it at the beginning of the call. But Renda, would you mind? I see we've got some questions in the chat. Why don't we get those answered right now? And then we can
Yes,
pull back the curtain and we can show everybody what's new and
let's.
exciting. So the first question that we have in the chat, can we do a combo of these? And I'm safely assuming that what's meant here is setting it up, on a VT, setting it up on mobile, setting it up on a payment device. So we can do combinations with merchants, correct?
That is correct. So essentially, this is more of an onboarding like technicality that you don't really need to think about too much. But really, the best way to think about these software packages is really as tiers, with tier one being SwipeSimple payments, tier two being SwipeSimple terminal, tier three being SwipeSimple register. So if you the higher in tiers that you go, the more functionalities and features that you're going to get, such as if you want those item modifiers, item level taxes, that's when you're going to put them on the register software package. So to answer the question about combos, yes, you can actually mix and match and have multiple devices. So you could have either this Aries 8, and then you can also have two different PAX A920s. That is not an issue with us in terms of being able to mix and match between the different devices. It's just really going to depend on which software package that you choose first.
Thank you, Renda. Got another question in the chat. Is SwipeSimple going to add a peripheral device to work with the VT on a computer instead of just a terminal? As an example, a pin pad type device.
At this time, we don't have any plans to add in, say, like a card reader for the virtual terminal. It's really just going to remain card not present, with the merchant being able to enter in that data.
Got it. And another question in the chat. So we did talk about this just a little bit as far as for a retail environment. Is this more for a retail environment? And when you have end of day closeout, would you need to close out each individual device one at a time?
So you can set it up for an auto batch system. Say if you're using the mobile app, or sorry, if you're using SwipeSimple payments, this first section here, that is actually going to set to auto batch every single day, regardless. But if you're using one of these PAX devices, so essentially any of these three on the right-hand side, your team can actually set them up to either auto batch or manually batch. But we always recommend just auto batching through SwipeSimple. So yes, they can be set up to auto batch for those three.
And I wish I would have provided more clarity because there was like a little addition to that. It was specifically for
Oh,
the register. So thank you for clarifying.
oh yes.
Another question as far as devices go. So the question is, does this only work on the PAX A920?
No, so we have the PAX A920, the A920 Pro. Soon we'll actually have the A920 Pro Max. We have this on the A80, and then this also will work on the PAX Aries 8.
Got it. One more question for you, and then we're going to pull back the curtain and we're going to show them what SwipeSimple has been up to since we last talked to you. So here's another question. So when we're setting up auto close, can you set up the auto close to any time, or is it just on the hour or every half hour as far as the increments go?
Gosh, that's a good question. I know for sure, obviously, you can do on the hour. I think depending on the way you set it up in BroadPOS or the Pack Store, this is too technical, my apologies. It might maybe only every 30 minutes.
Got it. Tell you what, we'll
So
open it up
let
to our
me.
agents. If anybody wants to come off mute to get a question out there, we'll give you a little bit of time. You can come right off mute and then we're going to jump into what's brand spanking new at SwipeSimple. So now's a good time to come off mute if you would like. More than happy to take questions. All right. We are going to open up for more questions a little bit later on. But as always, you can keep putting your questions right into the chat if you would like. And don't forget, a little bit later on, you can just come right off mute, get those questions answered. Brenda, my gosh, we have something exciting to share, do we not?
We do, and so many great questions also. So it's been really fun. Please keep asking away. Happy to stay on with your team as long as possible in terms of asking any of the questions you have. But
Got it.
excited to show you the product.
Yeah. So basically, what we're going to do, everybody, is we're just going to kind of take a look into regards to what has changed with SwipeSimple from a mobile aspect. So yes, you can set it up on an A920 and you can put in that SIM card and you can take it out in the field and collect payments out that way. But, what if you've got that one merchant, that one business owner that is just insistent on doing it on their cell phone? Well, gosh, let's learn what's new. Renda, go ahead and take it away, my friend.
Awesome. Well, we have quite a few slides and we will take you through a demo of this as well. We are able to condense some of this for you here, but the SwipeSimple mobile app has had quite some changes within the last year. First, starting off with the invoices section. So for those of you who have merchants, maybe in the services industry, field service, we now have the ability for you to be able to send invoices out directly from the mobile app. That is really huge because when you're really thinking about it, merchants don't want to wait to the end of the day to be able to send out invoices. That means that you're going to have a lot of lag time between the time that you see a merchant at 9 a.m. to the time that you send out an invoice at the end of the day. But with invoices on the mobile app, you're now able to send out that invoice immediately. You can send it out to that customer while you're on site with them, making it a really easy way for you and your team to be able to get paid quicker as well. We also have another section on here labeled customers. And with this, this is your basic CRM. This allows you to be able to see your customer information. You can actually call out and email. And I believe you can do one more thing. Oh, you can text them as well through the customers app, which is huge. Previously, we didn't have this feature. I know we really like to sell on the customers app. We make it easy for you to be able to charge customers. But I think this is a really handy tool for your merchants when they're out in the field. Think of that technician that's running just 5 minutes late to see their client. They need to easily text them. So with the customers tab on here, they're able to easily contact them, let them know that they're on their way as well. And then later on, if they want, they can also charge them directly from the customers from the new charge screen as well. And lastly, with the mobile app, we've now added on a new B350 card reader. So it looks pretty similar to the card reader that we had previously. This is with a different manufacturer. And why is this important for your merchants if it looks the same? Well, really, this card reader is going to be a massive improvement from those merchants that are using the B250. And the reason being is now we have indicators on here, like light indicators and sound indicators for when a transaction goes through. Some feedback that we heard with the B250's card readers that we previously had is merchants weren't sure when their transactions were processing or not. So that's just one way that the B350 is going to be a bigger or more of an improvement for your merchants using that B350 card reader.
And a very quick. So this is all really good stuff as far as the enhancements, the new updates that are happening with SwipeSimple, especially on a mobile level. We're down a couple notes here. So obviously looking at it from an invoicing perspective, you mentioned the fact that it's got that customer capability. So safe to assume any business owner that maybe goes, out in the field, like you were saying, maybe some of those service businesses, safe to assume they can easily just pull up that customer and create that invoice right on the spot then, correct?
Yes, it's gonna be really easy. Even if they're not a current customer, for them, they can still send out that invoice. They can send it out via email, via text as well.
Excellent. All right. So we might have some questions.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
nope. I was going to say, if we do have questions with that mobile reader, now's a great time to get them out. Otherwise, we've got some more content that we do got to cover. I did see a question that did pop up into the chat, Brenda. So, what if one of our agents has, an existing customer, a landscaper, as an example, that's already using SwipeSimple? What would be the process to get them to those new updates?
Great question. So, as long as they are on the latest version of Swipe Simple, I think we're now on 7.11. As long as they're on 7.10 or above, they have access to these features. So, if they are not having access, they may just want to either push updates to their own device, or push those updates from the App Store, Play Store as well. But this is really helpful. And just so everyone is aware too, they don't have to pay extra for these features. With this software package, it's already available to them. So as long as they just update to the latest version of SwipeSimple, they will have access to invoices and the customers on mobile.
Didn't realize you were going to do that mic drop right over there in the middle of the call, but there we go, Brenda. Nicely done. I tell you what, I know you got some other stuff that you do want to cover, so let's jump over to that next one, and let's talk about payment links and hosted payment pages.
Yes. So payment links, you'll hear me talk a lot about payment links and invoices today. And the reason being is we see a lot of payment volume going through card not present features. Payment links being one of them, just because it's a really versatile way for your merchants to be able to accept payments online. So you can either do a buy now button. We see a lot of folks using this, say, for donations. You can also input multiple items on your payment links. So where are payment links really being shared? Well, you can either share it via email, text message. If you want to post it in, say, like a newsletter, you can also use this on social media too. We see a lot of folks using this, say, on Instagram. Maybe they want to be able to, if we have a small furniture store that wants to be able to link a large high ticket item on their page, they can link it with that specific item as well. So that's just one of the ways that those payment links can be used. We also see folks using those links, taking it and then embedding it into a QR code. So say you have a local school that wants to be able to accept donations from some of the parents. It's easy for them to be able to just put on a QR code linked with that payment link, and those parents can enter in however much they would like to donate. So that's a really helpful tool for your merchants, especially when it comes to being able to use their online presence with those payment links.
Just a quick recap on that. So look at that. You can use it for, some of those businesses within the community, the schools, the churches that are looking for their donations, any of those businesses that want to get paid instantaneously. They can create a payment link and get it sent over to their customers. Brenda, let's carry on. I know you got a couple more pieces that you're dying to share with everybody.
Yes. So we'll cover this when we go through the virtual terminal, but I did want to give you a heads up that we do offer level 2 and level 3 interchange qualification, making it easier for your merchants to be able to save on costs. So who are the types of clients that they're going to go after? Well, really, it's going to be business to business, B2B, or B2G, business to government. So think about, say, field service workers or those that are working with other contractors. They will be able to utilize level 2, level 3. And it's really as simple as when we go through the virtual terminal, you're going to finish up with a transaction, hit charge, and you'll see that there will be additional fields that will be required for level 2 or level 3. So we make it really easy. We also don't charge extra for this too, for level 2 and level 3 for your merchants.
Let's say that again one more time, Brenda. You don't charge for that? What? Say it again.
We do. That is correct. We don't charge extra for that. And you'll hear me repeat this a few times because it's very similar for a lot of other pieces on here. We're not going to charge extra for that piece for level 2 or level 3. And next up, we'll go into dual pricing with SwipeSimple. So I mentioned earlier, dual pricing has really been the hot topic for a lot of merchants. For your teams, I'm sure you're hearing it all around in terms of the industry as well. So across all of our products, we support dual pricing. So whether that's on the mobile app, whether that's on terminal or register, and even on our payment gateway, we offer this. So With this, you're going to see if you actually check right here, that airbrush makeup is actually has been adjusted to $20.80. That beach wave is I can barely see it. So it's $52. So it's marked up just slightly. There's no mention of the adjustment name on that receipt. So that's what merchants are going to see. And we'll take you through what that's going to look like on the mobile app, payment gateway, as well as the terminal in a bit. No questions so far?
Well, we are getting questions coming into the chat, and what I'm going to do, friends, is going to encourage you right now. I know we got a couple more pieces that we're going to cover very quickly. This will be an opportunity for me to read the questions that are popping up in the chat. And it's also going to be an opportunity for you to come off mute. Brenda, why don't we get through those other two pieces, and then we're going to take that break. We'll get those questions answered.
Perfect. So that second product that I showed you on that initial slide with the three, this is going to be SwipeSimple Terminal, which you can use on the PAX A920, A920 Pro, or the PAX A80. So why is this going to be a great solution for your merchants? So what you're going to see is when we go through the demo of mobile app, then we'll go through a demo of terminal, and it's going to be a pretty similar experience. And also, it's going to be a very easy, intuitive experience for your merchants. We want to make sure that when your merchants are out in the field, they don't have to worry about, I don't actually know how this button works. Can I get additional reporting in the back end for my team? Yes, you can. So we have a bunch of reports that are going to be really helpful for your merchants, also providing you with inventory management across your products as well. And I'll quickly go through SwipeSimple Register. So on here, you can use it either on a tablet or the PAX Aries 8. Again, I will be showing you this with the item modifiers, item level taxes on the PAX A920. So it's going to be helpful just so that way you can see that it's really going to be able to be used on a variety of hardware or devices.
Rita, if you don't mind, just so we can have clarity with register. Obviously, a lot of our folks get excited when they have an opportunity to present something that falls within that POS realm. In your opinion, based upon some of the installations that you've done with SwipeSimple Register, what would you say are the businesses that are the best fit? Because obviously, I don't think we would want that hardware store that has like 30,000 SKUs, or do we? I mean,
Correct.
what do you think would be the best fit for a SwipeSimple Register?
Yeah, so think for SwipeSimple Register, we see a lot with food and beverage, especially if you want to be able to use this, say, on a tablet or the PAX Aries 8. We also see a lot with retail stores. So thinking of, say, like a florist or even a pet store as well. And lastly, we see a lot of the business going through with auto repair, towing, trucking, really anything in the car realm space. We see a lot of business going through with SwipeSimple Register. And the reason why is because of those item modifiers. Think about a small cafe. I'm going to show you this dessert shop in a bit, but for a cafe, they may need to you be able to have a variety of modifiers. Think about a sandwich. They want to be able to switch out the different types of meats. Or if you have a coffee, maybe you want to be able to substitute different types of milks. So those modifiers are really going to help those merchants with a more sophisticated menu, a more sophisticated item catalog that they want to be able to adjust depending on the customer's needs. That last example of the auto repair shop. So something very simple that you can think about when you're thinking about those item modifiers is how merchants can do either like or customers can have like a basic versus standard versus deluxe repair. So there's quite a variety of options in terms of what merchants can really do with register. So while you are selling on those two features, the item level taxes, item modifiers, it's really going to expand, especially for thinking about those merchants with that more sophisticated menu option.
All right. So if we understand correctly, I mean, really great for a QSR type of environment, the coffee shop, the donut shop, the snack shop, or whatever we may call
Mhm.
it. Quick service environment, you're saying some of these auto repair places where they may need the individual modifiers based upon the type of service that they're providing to their clients, correct?
Correct.
All
Yes.
right. What would you say are some opportunities that folks should probably just shy away from with SwipeSimple Register?
So You mentioned the QSRs. So I guess to flip that around, if you're
Okay.
going after a merchant, like maybe a multi-chain restaurant that needs gosh, I can't remember, server IDs,
Server
table
IDs.
management. They have a large scale restaurant doing 100 plus transactions per hour. Swipe Simple Register is probably not going to be a good fit. So where we kind of fit in is, so if you had a solution, say um, like a Clover Flex, like that's where we would be a good fit as well. So again, really, when you're thinking about Swipe Simple, while I definitely don't think we're only made for micro merchants, typically those that use us will be merchants that are in that have like 1 to 10 employees. They're not taking more than 20 to 30 transactions in an hour. They just need the simple inventory as well. Also. Those are just some of the examples. And if you ever have questions, feel free to continue going to Scott, Jeannie from your team. They can always funnel questions back to me as well in terms of, is this merchant going to be a good fit for Swipe Simple Register? I will never leave you astray. I will never just try to upsell our product just for a simple um, just for a board, especially if it means you lose that trust with the merchant. So we want to be able to put merchants on products that fit for them, but also products that they're going to be able to continue growing with as well over time.
Brenda, if I heard you correctly, I think you dropped a little bit of gold there. You said specifically a good way for our agents to identify whether or not register is a good opportunity is if they go into a business and they see that the merchant is using something like a Clover Flex, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Clover Mini too, as well.
I want to make sure we get that in front of you folks. So make sure we get it right the first time. Brenda, let's do a couple of questions. And then I thought we'll jump into a demo. Friends, this is an opportunity for you to come off mute after I go through the questions in the chat. Brenda, let's jump right in. So going back to invoicing, can invoices be sent to a traditional printer to have them printed off versus sending them out electronically?
So do not have the ability. You can still send it out via. You can send it out via a printer. That is not an issue. You may just have to do it from the dashboard and just print that way. Although I cannot say that invoice is going to look and be formatted correctly on that 8 by 10. Um, just to give you a heads up. And for that separate receipt printer for a kitchen, I do want to note we don't have a kitchen printer. Most of the time when folks are using us, say if you had there's like a mobile printer that you can also use. You can print up to 2 receipts at a time, though, with the products.
And going back to the invoicing piece, can those invoices be itemized? As an example, a mattress store, pillow mattress, covers, et cetera, et cetera. So given like a detailed
Yes.
breakdown, you can. Okay.
Yes.
So they can be itemized. Let's jump to the next question. Can receipts have customers' names and phone numbers on them?
I do not remember. I feel like I've not seen the receipts in that long to look at it. Actually, let's take a look. Well, let's take a look. I'll print out that receipt. I don't think you will have it on the mobile app. I think it might be in the electronic receipts, but we can take a look in a second when we go through.
Okay. This one we may or may not be able to answer, but I might as well get it out there to you. One of our sales agents, Albert, said, I have a merchant with the Rocket device with EBT and wants a POS that integrates with his current Swipe Simple mobile device in his store. What is the best option to go with here?
So we actually don't support EBT on Swipe Simple. I know that it looks like they're currently using Swipe Simple as well. Um, I'm not sure in regards to where they would go elsewhere since they're looking for an option with EBT.
Yeah. And another question for you. Is there a time frame that the Swipe Simple app will be able to take tap to pay directly to the iPhone?
Great question. So we are still working on through the certifications for tap to pay on iPhone. If anyone's done a cert or heard about certs with Apple, it takes quite a bit of time. We're looking to have tap to pay completed by the end of this year. With our first certification for Rapid Connect Nashville, that will be available closer to the end of Q1, early Q2.
Hey, well, Renda, while you're getting your demo account set up, to you, the agents, I'm going to say to you, now's a great time to come off mute, get your questions out there. Let's make sure we get those answered so you feel empowered You can get out there and have yourself a fantastic day. Opening it up to you, the crowd. Go ahead, come off mute.
Um, Linda, question for you. So I've got a merchant who's using the A920 now, and I guess when you guys do inventory updates, is it almost always via Excel file, or is there a better way to do like inventory updates for like medical products or any products they may carry? Because their current setup is they're using um I told the merchant owner to put in their products with all the price points, and then they have various packages as part of their payment solution that have instead of having the receptionist go in and plug in the value each time just to do that way. Is that the right way to go about that, or can that be, is that kind of seamless between the online portal and the A920 terminal?
So you can use the Excel template. That's probably going to be one of the easier ways, especially if you have to update a lot of inventory in bulk. But you can also, because it is cloud-based, if you if you make up adjustments on the dashboard or on your phone, they will be synced asynchronously. But I would suggest doing it on the dashboard. Even if you don't use the Excel file, you can still go into the dashboard and easily update, especially if you need to, say, mass update some of the items to a specific category. I heard what you said in regards to the stock, the inventory, though. If you're
Hmm.
looking to update that in bulk, I would suggest that Excel template, maybe exporting it, importing it back in. And if that is too complicated, then you can always just update them on a one-off basis.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right. What other questions do we have, agents?
Hey, this is Cliff.
Hey, Cliff.
Hey, because I was looking, there's a mattress store that's by my house that um, Elevon's Eva or Elo made a change and he hates it and he's looking for other options. And I went with SwipeSimple, and that was the question I asked about that 8x10. And because he does deliveries, he'll order stuff and he'll print out a receipt, and he wants to look at that invoice that has the customer's name. So his delivery driver, he can just give it to him. That was a big thing. Do they have the customer's name, or is that against all PCI having customers, address, phone number on a receipt?
I have a feeling that you're not able to see that address on the receipt. I do not remember off the top of my head, but we can take a look at that receipt once we do a demo. We can take a look in the dashboard. I have a feeling you. Oh, thank you, Nick. So I was thinking card holder name would be on that receipt, though.
Yeah, that's well. I mean, that's what if they buy, let's say they buy the mattress, and then but they have to order it in, and then once they get their order in, then he can then take that receipt, give it to his delivery driver, and say, "Hey, this is where you're going," because it has the customer's name, address, and phone number, so he could do exactly what you said. Oh, hey, I'm going to be 15 minutes late, but I don't have to look it up. I can just look at that receipt. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I
Yep.
was going to say,
Yeah,
probably
we
in
can take a
those,
look.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, I was going to say, probably in those instances, that would probably come more off of not so much a work order as much as a itemized order per se versus a receipt. But yeah, we can definitely look into that, Cliff. Brenda, one of the things that we did want to clarify, I see that one of my favorite agents out of Texas, Miss Carol Steen, wanted to clarify on this. Her question. So if you have SwipeSimple Register set up in the store and it has inventory, and let's say that the merchant needs to pop out in the field with the app on their phone and sell items, will this update and register?
Hi, Carol. So as long as that phone that's out in the field is connected to internet, it will update the items in store. I say that specifically because we'll go through the mobile app in a second, but we have a feature on there called offline mode. So with offline mode, say if that merchant is out in the field, they suddenly lose access to Wi-Fi data. Maybe there's too many folks out um, around cell service is down, you can continue taking transactions in offline mode. But essentially, that would also mean that those items that are in the cart are not going to communicate to that device that may be in the store. So until they connect back to the Wi-Fi, they will be able to connect. That's just a small nuance, but that is something to keep in mind, especially depending on where they are. If they're in a zone where they're not able to access internet service. But for the most part, as long as they're connected to Wi-Fi, internet, data on the go, they will be able to have their inventory updated in real time and be able to see inventory on the device in the store as well as on their phone.
That's a really big deal because a lot of people are still having to go back to the store and manually take it out of inventory. So that's a huge selling point.
That's great to hear. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So, I mean, even with that, again, inventory across the field, across all the products, cloud-based, whether you're using it from one A920 to another one, you're going to see that deplete or be used across all those products.
Carol, thank you for providing clarity on that. And as we start to get towards the very end of our session today, we'll definitely take more questions. But now it's an opportunity for Rinda to just kind of highlight what we're talking about as far as those mobile capabilities go. Rinda, I can see everything right up on the screen. I see your phone. I see you got your card reader right there. Go ahead and take it away, my friend.
Thank you. So this is the new card reader that I was mentioning earlier with the B350. Looks pretty similar to what we had previously. But before we dive into taking a transaction, I do want to highlight what's new. That was the invoices and customer section that we have here. So we're actually going to work our way from the bottom and then go to the top. So starting off with settings. So multi-mid, you can do multi-mid or multi-merchant setups directly on the mobile app. So you can also pair your card reader under device pairing, print up to 2 receipts at a time. Other features that we've mentioned so far, offline mode. I know we touched upon that a little bit earlier, but this is a really great selling point for your merchants, especially those that might be in more rural areas or don't always have access to internet Wi-Fi data when they're on the go. Think about also technicians that want to be able to use offline mode as well. And the second feature is going to be card on file transactions. So we mentioned with customers, you have the ability to use saved card information as well. So you can do that while you're in the sales flow. And customers, we'll head up to here. So let's look at Andy Dwyer. I was actually really shocked to see this when we rolled this out in December. I know people really enjoy being able to use that saved card info, but really for me, this was a huge selling point, thinking about being able to easily text, call, or email that customer when you're out in the field running late. Even the fact that you can see that address too as well. So really helpful for those technicians that are out of the field to be able to communicate with those customers.
Brenda, very quickly, when you had that up on the screen, I noticed that it said saved cards, plural. So does that mean that they can save multiple cards on file?
That is correct. You can save multiple cards on file. And it will actually allow you to choose from which card you want to. Say if Ava had multiple cards on file, we can choose between which card that we want to charge her with. And then we also have invoices. So with this, it's going to mimic what you're going to see in a bit with the dashboard. Essentially, you can see between all of your invoices. Maybe you want to look at unpaid, past due. We can easily send this out. Maybe Janine already paid us in person, so we can mark that as paid. You can also resend it as well. So someone asked earlier in regards to itemized invoices. So we do support that on here. So maybe we want to be able to add in this after-hour technician fee. Barbara called us pretty late. You can also add in other items as well. So if you want, you can add in the actual item. You can type it in here. So pretty easy for them to be able to use. We can send this out. We can choose how we want to send it out. So again, invoices on mobile, just making it easier for your customers to get paid quicker because merchants will have the ability to send out that invoice immediately after being on the job site. And items. We'll go through this in a little bit when we go through the dashboard, but we don't have a limit on the amount of items that you could have with SwipeSimple. And I'm going to actually move up to the new charge screen for now. So this is what your merchants are going to see when they log in. Maybe we want to take a quick $200 item. It's going to be too large for me to be able to use this to get an approval, but we can start from here. We'll do it Wi-Fi thermostat, and it's going to be in alphabetical or category first, then alphabetical order. So inventory management, you'll see this across all the products. You'll see it's going to show you if you are planning to track the amount of items that are in stock, it will show you this here. You can also add in discounts. And you can also add in a reference number. And this is going to be the start of the flow for cash discount, sorry, dual pricing. So we have dual pricing enabled here. Maybe we are using saved card information from someone else from before. So we'll choose to do card on file. And I think Ashley has multiple accounts. So we can choose which card we'd like to charge her for, and it will decline or approve. And you can easily send out this via email, text, or print it out as well.
All right. And now we're going to switch gears. We're going to go over to the dashboard, correct?
Yes. Ooh, now to the random dev stuff. Yes. Hopefully this didn't log me out. Okay.
All right. While you're getting yourself logged back in, I did have a couple more questions that popped up in the chat if you would like.
Yes.
Okay. Is the B350 about $100 like it is with the B250?
It's going to be the same price. So if you're buying it from the website, I don't remember the number offhand, but however much you're paying for the B250, that's going to be the same price for the B350 as well.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm actually going to throw it out to one of my colleagues over here who I know should be hiding in the background. She can probably clarify what the exact price is on that if she wants to come off mute. That would be super duper fantastic. Miss Jeannie Reese, do you know off the top of your head? Either way, we'll get answers out to you, friends. Don't worry about it. Another question that popped up. Will there be any future ACH integration for dual pricing with card not present transactions?
Great question, Arlen. So that's actually something our team is currently looking into. I have been pushing it. So if you keep hearing this feedback from your team, your merchants, let Scott, Jeannie, and the team know. That is always valuable feedback that we can take back to our team, because I'm really trying to push for this for ACH as well. So it's not a no at this time, but we're still looking into it. Hopefully to get this out to you all soon.
One last
Hey,
question.
Scott.
Yes.
Cliff again. I'm on my SwipeSimple version on my iPhone 7.11. Does demo mode allow you to see that customer and invoice, because it's not showing up on the demo mode? Do you have to have a live account in order to showcase this to potential customers?
At this time, we don't have that on demo mode. That is something that our team is working on, looking to have that hopefully by the end of the year for the demo mode environment to be updated with those new features.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
All right. Carol's team to the rescue. That B250 is $150 based upon our February hardware price list. Carol, thank you for putting that into the chat. Brenda, one more question. Any videos with the new setup that are available for use?
So concurrently right now, one of my team members is actually hosting a webinar. So once we get that webinar, let me actually send that over to you so you can see what that video would look like. We're also coming out with more additional demo videos too, but I can send that over your way, the shorter demo videos of invoices on mobile as well as customers on mobile as well.
Excellent. And Jeannie Reese, sorry that I called on you very quickly. I know you were trying to come off mute, my friend, but thank you for putting it in the chat just to verify that yes, the B250, it's $150. Jeannie Reese to the rescue. Boom, shakalaka. She is my partner in crime. Thank you so much, Jeannie. Brenda, go ahead and walk us through the actual terminal itself.
Yes. So this is what your merchants are going to see when they log in. I'm actually going to go to the initial page they have so they can see their overview. But for any of your merchants that are using SwipeSimple payments, they're going to get these 4 additional ways to take payments at no additional cost. So starting off with the virtual terminal. Uh, this you can, I mentioned earlier, you can do level 2, we'll start filling this information out now. We can add in items from our catalog, and we do support dual pricing. So what you'll actually see here is that unit price that's listed in your catalog is currently $400. And you'll see that it's adjusted upwards to $416. And we can charge them. And if you want to add in level 2, level 3 data, you're going to see that additional fields will pop up here for you to enter. And with scheduled payments, there's going to be 3 different use cases that you can use here. If you want to do, say, a one-time payment, an installment, or a subscription, that's always an option. So let's start filling this out for an HVAC account. We'll do monthly indoor air quality service. And for Ashley, we want to charge her on a monthly basis, make this really easy. And we'll charge her $100 for this as well. We can add in tax. And again, with dual pricing, you can see that amount has been adjusted upwards. And it's going to bring you back to the customer section. So you'll see any of the items, you'll see any of the transactions taken for this customer. You can also see card data as well. Truncated card data, scheduled payments, invoices. And we'll go through invoices. So I know we already saw a bit of this as well. So I'll try to make invoices a little quicker. You can do the air compressor. You can also add in, again, we have the ability to do the itemized invoice as well. So with this, we added on the ability for you to be able to tip on the invoice. So think about those service merchants, or maybe even a food and beverage QSR. Maybe they're catering for a local company and they want to be able to allow for the customer to be able to tip on the invoice. So that's going to be an option now. And we can send this out. And with this, you can actually see that delivery failed. It's most likely because I put an incorrect phone number. But if you wanted to see what the customers are going to see on their end, I want to make notice of 2 things. You can also see on payment links and invoices, customers have the ability to do branding. I think that's really important when we're really thinking about how a small merchant can grow their business. One way is having branding. And they can also add in, say, a note at the bottom of their invoice payment link as well, to either redirect folks back to their social media page, to call in. So these are just some simple tips that merchants can use to really build out their device as well. And for this invoice,
I was going to say very quickly, one of the things that if we scroll right back down to that bottom again, that's what I wanted to call out, the tipping feature, where we can break it out with no tip and do it based upon a percentage, or we can do a custom tip. It was a question I had in the back of my mind, but I wanted to let you get through your flow and look at that. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Thank you, my friend.
Of course. And let's see, so that was it for invoices. Payment links, my personal favorite feature that we have, just because there is versatility. And while it's not quite a shopping cart scenario, it does allow for merchants to have a little more flexibility with putting their links and being able to accept payments online. So if we wanted to do, say, a donation, you can have this for that school that we were mentioning earlier, maybe even a church if they want to be able to put that QR code on a flyer later on. Maybe you have items in we want to do installations. We can have all the installation options listed out here. So really helpful for merchants to be able to have this with the multiple items. And we'll just do one more. If you want, you can add in a tax rate. We'll do installations. And you can also customize this form too. So think about for your merchants that if they're selling goods, well, you want to be able to probably also know, where should we ship this to? Is there a phone number that we can read that? Maybe you have a school that also has students as well. They want to be able to pay for registration fees. Maybe you need to have the student ID number. So there's quite a variety of items that you can add on here with payment links to really customize it for the merchant. Yeah, so this is what it would look like if you had the multiple items listed out here. And next up, we'll go into transactions. Let's see. We'll do this transaction for Andy. I really just want to see in terms of that merchant name or a customer name. So it will show the cardholder name, but it will not allow you to enter in a different name on that receipt. I know that there was a question earlier about that. So this is what the merchant is going to see on their end, and they can also send that out to the customer as well. And transactions, oh, they can do a little, if they want to dig a little deeper into the transactions that they have, they can do that here. We saw customers a little earlier, item catalog. So let's dive into what it's going to look like for, say, this air compressor. You can always add in an image. You can also assign it to a specific category. Maybe if you have different modifier groups as well, you can do that too. So one of the questions earlier was, well, what if I need to be able to update customer or items? So you can either do it one-off. That's probably helpful if you don't have that many items that you need to update. But I would suggest if you have multiple items, like maybe over 10, 15, and you don't want to be able to, if you don't want to update them all manually, you can actually export your current list, import it back in, and we have this template that you can use. So that's probably going to be the easier way to be able to update if you have a lot of items in bulk. And users, we have two different user roles, member versus admin. Members are going to have a little bit more restrictions, such as they can only see into their own accounts. Admins will be able to see into all accounts. They'll be able to see into all reports as well. And it looks like we're finally getting to some of the reporting. So key reports that I think are going to be really helpful for your merchants. One, if you're using dual pricing, the sales reports with this adjustments column is going to be really helpful. Users, think about F&B. They want to be able to see how much they want to be able to see tip payout by day or maybe by a specific time frame. And we spoke a lot about inventory management earlier. So with this items report, merchants are going to be able to see what items are running low. Maybe they want to compare this to the time frame of last year. How did they do in Q1 of last year? Are we on track? Are we exceeding what we did last year? Or maybe even looking at what items are not selling as well as we did last year. So that's just one way that merchants can really use this items report to their advantage when it comes to seeing how their business is doing. And taxes, top customers, and lastly, expiring cards. So this is really going to be tied in with scheduled payments. So think about if you have Ava, if Ava is on a monthly reoccurring billing plan and she missed last month because her cards were expiring, you're probably going to want to reach out to her before that card expires, just so that way we don't have a lapse in payment. And you can always go back to her page and you can either delete it out or add in a new one too. And account settings. I went over this a little earlier, but with your receipts, invoices, payment links, you have the ability to do more customization. You could, especially that header or footer, if you want to redirect them back to your page. Maybe you want to be notified about reports, alerts. Again, this is going to be helpful for, say, inventory management. If you want to be notified about, hey, instead of 10, I want to actually be notified when there's less than 20. So that gives my team more time to prepare for items running low. You can also set up your level 2, level 3 data here as well. And I know that was kind of a lot. Any questions so far, Scott?
For the most part, well, of course, I just said we don't have any questions. And of course, you know what happened? That came right up in the chat. So here we go, Brenda. I got one for you. Will all of the account settings, reporting dashboard features you covered today be available in a demo account?
Yes, so that will be available in a demo. I actually dropped a link right now. So if you use that demo environment, you will be able to see everything under account settings. That's available. And I can also share that with Scott and the team too after.
And as always, every time we do a Toolbox Tuesday, our lovely marketing department, they're going to send out a follow-up email with a copy of the recording. We'll make sure we get a copy of that link to the demo account included in that email being sent out to all of you later on today. So we'll make sure that we get that
Perfect.
included.
Awesome. So the reason I bring up the mobile app with the SwipeSimple on the PAX 8920 is really just that way you're able to see that this experience is going to be pretty similar for merchants that are using it, whether they're on the mobile app versus terminal. So let's even like look through items. So this is helpful because merchants want to be able to grow with you. And giving them a solution that they can really grow with over time is going to make those merchants sticky and ensure that they're going to stay with you and the PayCompass team for the long run. Because again, we want merchants to be able to fit with the product, and sometimes merchants will outgrow the mobile app. And that's fine too. But you can always put them on other products and also really expand the way that they can continue taking payments, say with the A920. So on the A920, I actually have the register software package loaded. So what this is going to look like is, say we have a customer that wants brownies, or we can do, let me see, maybe I have a croissant. So this croissant, if we want to stick with a plain croissant, that's fine. Or maybe if we want to charge, if they want something extra, like the chocolate croissant, that's an option too. And I'll have to fix this one for myself later. But let's see. You can also do coffee. And I'm specifically looking for this margarita, mostly just because I want to show you in terms of oh, it looks like someone took this off. So this should have multiple items or multiple tax rates. So you would be able to see like a New York City tax rate, a state tax rate as well. I think someone took that one off for now.
No, but I'm glad that you did bring that up because that was one of the questions I was going to throw out there as far as setting up the taxes, whether it's city, state, county, whatever. You can do multiple tax codes per item.
That will be available with the register software package. You're going to have that option. Yes. So remember, the two key features are going to be the item modifiers, item level taxes, and that's going to be available with the register software package. Yeah. So that is pretty much it for SwipeSimple on the payments, SwipeSimple terminal, and then also SwipeSimple register. So let me see if I can go back in to the deck as well. Scott, how are we doing on time?
I was going to say that we are a little bit past the top of the hour, but that's okay because we want to make sure that we do get any and all questions addressed that may be coming up. Thank you, Emily McMahon. I saw your comment in the chat. All of you sales agents, just be aware there is also SwipeSimple marketing flyers in the document section of Navigo. So look at that. If you're going to be planning out your day for later on, or planning out later on this week, jump into Navigo, go to the document section, and you're going to find that we've got updated SwipeSimple marketing collateral in there. Thank you very much for that one, Emily. We do appreciate it. And to you, the sales agents, tell you what, let's open it up to questions. Let's make sure we get you all informed before we call it a day and get you out there selling and closing out the rest of February. So taking questions now, come off mute, or you can throw your questions in the chat.
Sorry to beat a dead horse here, but you said that you guys don't support EBT, or is just the Rocket mobile solution no more?
At this time, we do not support EBT.
Is this something new because I have a client who's using it with EBT. I'm just curious.
On SwipeSimple, we have never supported EBT. It's possible that they're using it with another product, though.
Well, with the Rocket mobile solution.
Yes, but we don't offer the Rocket
Gotcha.
mobile solution.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Come off mute. Now's a great time to get your questions answered before we wrap up today's session. All right. Brenda, before we break, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience today as far as SwipeSimple and what it can do for merchants and what it can do for them to help get their deals across the finish line?
Mainly that we're here to help. So if you ever have questions, feel free to use Jeannie, Scott, myself as well. If you have questions about whether this can be a good fit for a merchant, we're always here to assist you as well. And yeah, excited to work with your team more and excited for y'all to sell more SwipeSimple.
Excellent. Did I have another question that popped up into the chat? What are the SwipeSimple support hours?
Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So pretty much 8 to 8 Eastern Standard Time, correct?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Got that one.
I got one more last question. I'm sorry. One more last
Go
question.
ahead.
So we're in the
course you
HVAC.
We
do.
love the
Of
questions.
course
We're in the
you do,
HVAC.
Auburn.
We're in the HVAC vertical. So I had a question. I had a merchant who actually wanted to use SwipeSimple, but I don't know if there's a way. You know how they have some HVAC companies sell suppliers, and then they actually do services. Is there a way that you can toggle between as far as selling supplies? Is there a way that you can eliminate that non-cash adjustment, if you will, compared to the non-cash adjustment on the service fee? Service
That'd be a
call?
better question for your team in terms of the
Right.
way that you set up dual pricing. So we offer the ability where you can waive, like that is a setting, but I'm not sure on the way that PayCompass handles that.
Okay, I'll follow up with Jeannie because it's very important. Some HVACs want to charge the non the dual pricing, if you will, the service fee on service calls and not on selling supplies because it's a higher number.
That makes sense too.
So, all right, cool. Thank you.
Did have another question that popped up in the chat. QuickBooks integration updates. Where are we at with that?
So we currently don't offer QuickBooks integration, but you do have the ability to export transactions, your customer data as well, like invoices. That's what we usually will recommend is that you can export a lot of the data into QuickBooks, but we don't have a direct integration.
Throw it out there
I am
to
going to
our.
take that as feedback though.
Yeah, I think I know the answer to this, but there's no way to import or save carded data to export it at all. Is that correct? Is that, again, PCI related?
Correct. If PCI
Yeah.
related, we're not able to do
Yeah.
QuickBooks,
Yeah.
exporting card information.
Yeah, I have a customer that's on Pay Trace, and I want to get those cards to put into SwipeSimple, but we can't get it. So
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. Going once, going twice. Do we
Uh,
have any other
Hi,
questions?
this
Go
is
ahead.
Raquisha. I do have a question. You mentioned the B250 and the new B350, and you also mentioned the newest upgrade level is 7 point, I think you said 11. So will
Mhm.
the 250 be compatible to that level, or at some point will it just not be able to work with it?
We will
As you can,
continue. So, yeah, I hear where you're going. We're going to continue supporting the B250. We don't have any plans to wean off of it. We have a lot of merchants that are still using it out in the field. We still have some new orders. I mean, for those that are using, like, say, Fiserv Omaha. So we don't have any plans within the next few years to stop supporting that.
I mean, what exactly is the difference between the 250 and the 350, and why did you change? I'm just trying to understand, like, why there is a
Yeah,
350 now.
this is going to get very, very technical. So here's the main differences. I can also send this over to your team as well. Really, the main difference is the B250 was manufactured through BBPOS. The new one, BBPOS no longer, BBPOS got bought out by Stripe. And so now these new card readers are manufactured by Ingenico. They also support an additional processor. It's also slightly smaller in form as well. But here are just some of the big differences. One of those being the indicator of transaction success. You're also going to see a light, and then you'll also hear that audible beep as well.
Nice. Thank you.
Of course.
Excellent. Thank you, Aquicia. All right, going once, going twice. Do we have any other questions before we call it a session? Anybody? All right. With that said, let's give a little bit of love to our special guest who joined us here today, Rinda Sutrathada. Rinda, thank you so much for making the time to join us here today, putting together all this content. And to you, the sales agent, oh gosh, we're not done yet. Just because February is almost over doesn't mean that we don't have more sessions coming up. I look forward to seeing all of you again next week on Tuesday. We're going to do Coffee with Closers at 1 p.m. Eastern. Watch your email tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to send out all the invites for the month of March for Coffee with Closers, and I'm going to send out the invites for upcoming Toolbox Tuesdays that are going to be happening in the month of March. One more time, big round of applause. Rinda, you are the best. Grateful that I finally had an opportunity to work with you after after all this time, where it's like, no, we'll work together. And look at that. The stars aligned and we finally got to work together. So
Yes, appreciate you and the team. Justin, Nini,